Welcome to the ClearlyWell Podcast. I'm Elizabeth McKeon, a board-certified psychiatric mental health and addiction recovery nurse. This podcast aims to bridge the gap between mental health and substance use discussions, fostering understanding and empathy while reducing stigma. Join us as we amplify the voices of those with lived experiences, creating a non-judgmental space for their stories to be heard. Thank you for tuning in. Did you know that nearly 1 in 10 teens worldwide show signs of internet addiction? Adults aren't immune. About 3 to 6% struggle with compulsive online use, tied to work stress, loneliness, or pornography. Excessive screen time is linked to higher rates of depression, anxiety, and poor sleep. Blue light from devices can trick your brain into thinking it's daytime, disrupting melatonin and making it harder to fall asleep. So next time you're tempted to keep scrolling at 2 a.m., remember that your brain and body will pay the price.
Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, write it, cut it, paste it, save it, load it, check it, quick rewrite it, plug it, play it, burn it, rip it, drag it, drop it, zip and zip.
Hey guys, welcome back to the ClearlyWell Podcast. Today we're going to dive into a topic that touches, I think, probably every household, and unless you're living off the grid or something, right? Which is internet addiction. From kids glued to their screens to adults scrolling late into the night, this issue impacts mental health, relationships, and even our physical bodies. I'm thinking like I go into restaurants and I'm looking around. I go into a movie theater. I'm looking around. You see people looking at their phones and scrolling no matter what they're doing. I'm watching the NFL ball games this weekend, especially if it's Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, with the Kansas City Chiefs. Everyone is on their phones looking to see what socials are saying about what's going on. It's like to the point where you're not even there for the event. You're there to see what's going on socials. So that's something that I notice. My husband and I have really tried to take like a break from screen time, especially like we've been taking rides at night, leaving our phones at home, just trying to take in the countryside. And on weekends, we consciously leave our phones together on the counter so that we're actively engaging in each other and what's going on together in our household. So, we're aware because every Sunday my iPhone tells me what my activity has been for the week on my phone, and it's pretty disturbing actually. And I work remotely, and so I rely on my phone for everything, like all my work emails. I can practically do everything I need to do for my job from my phone. So I really try to take like an active break from the internet and my phone. But that's because I've just become aware of it. And it's a pretty big topic on the news right now too. So what is internet addiction? This is defined as excessive, poorly controlled preoccupation with internet use that leads to distress or impairment. This includes social media addiction, online gaming addiction, information overload from compulsive browsing, cyber relationships. This comes from dating in chat rooms, online gambling, online shopping, pornography addiction. Let's face it, everyone knows what Pornhub is, and that's just changing people's brains, especially children. And it's unfortunate that it's easier for people to get a dopamine reaction for sexual activity on their phone than to actively engage with a human being. And that changes brain. just like drugs do, and just like substances do. So keep that in mind. And who is most affected? Well, children and adolescents have a higher risk due to brain development and reward sensitivity. Remember that your kids' brains are not fully developed while they are being on the internet, using the internet. And so it's definitely changing the way that their brain is developing. Global prevalence estimates that 6 to 10% of adolescents will meet criteria for problematic internet use. And I think that's, if you think about how the schools are using iPads and using computers and everything now, it's really hard for kids to get away from it. They're finding that this is linked to lower grades, poor sleep, and increased social isolation because they get all of their social needs met online. And adults they're using the internet because it's giving them a relief, an escapism from loneliness, from work stress. Around 3 to 6% of adults are showing patterns of compulsive use. Adults are more likely to struggle with pornography addiction and also compulsive online shopping. I mean, let's face it, guys, almost everyone has an Amazon habit, right? And then this weird Temu and Shine or Sheen or whatever it's called, like there's all kinds of weird ways to get like things less expensive. And they have all these little games and spinny things that you can do that tell you're going to get everything for free, and then you end up spending money. So beware. And how does this impact mental health? So depression and anxiety are strong and elevated with heavy use of the internet, and data shows this. Sleep disruption, blue light. Blue light is causing a reduction in melatonin. That's your sleep hormone, guys. Like, if you're not making enough melatonin, you're not sleeping. And that's why you see so much melatonin for sale on the shelves right now. As people have increased their blue light intake from their phones and devices, people are not making enough melatonin hormone, which is your sleep hormone. So that's significant. And if you're getting a reduction in sleep quality, you're not feeling well. Also, there's cognitive and behavioral effects with increased impulsivity and poor self-control in and around internet usage. This will also cause a reduced attention span and also executive functioning, especially in teenagers. And then also, studies are showing that with increased pornography use, this alters the brain reward pathways. That's your dopamine, again, that we just talked about, similar to substance addiction. Associated also is increased shame, secrecy, and sexual dysfunction. So the more I read about this, the scarier it gets. And also there is physical effects, blue light and beyond. Blue light contributes to eye strain, dry eyes, headaches. Also, long-term exposure to blue light is linked to macular degeneration. Sedentary internet use correlates with obesity, hypertension, and other chronic health issues. So in other words, if you're laying around watching a device, watching your phone, chat rooms, all the things, that means you're not getting vitamin D from the sun. You're not engaging in, activities that help you get healthy dopamine. So it's definitely something to be aware of. And why do people get addicted to the internet? Well, it's dopamine-driven reward loops, the likes, wins, and the messages. It's also stress and boredom. People self-soothe with the digital engagement of the internet. And then also environmental factors. Homes without screen rules, lack of parental oversight, can cause social isolation, especially in teens and adolescents. So some of the things that I think that we really need to think about here is really just kind of some interventions and preventions, right? So for parents, I think setting screen time limits and having device-free dinners and bedrooms. Think about this. If they're going in their bedroom, you have no idea like how much time they're spending on there. So like I would think that like at least have hours at a time where your child is in their bedroom free from a device. That means they're having to figure something else out, use their brain, and they're not just actively engaging in chat rooms or things that might not be healthy. And for adults, take scheduled breaks, mindfulness around your usage. Just basically digitally detox from these applications, like you don't have to always be on socials. Think about how much time are you missing doing other activities? And then community and societal issues is more education and school-based prevention needs to go on in schools. They need to be doing mental health screenings, checking in on kids for how much time they're spending on the internet. And it's also just not about how much time you're spending. There are all kinds, I'm sure with everything that's going on with Charlie Kirk right now, people have heard about, Reddit. And I actually have Reddit on my phone and didn't realize that there were like very dark spaces there. So it's about how we're spending our time. Chat rooms and forums like Reddit, Discord, and anonymous apps, these can expose users, especially teens, to predatory behavior, misinformation, and cyberbullying. And oversharing of personal details in these spaces puts your privacy, safety, and even financial security at risk. Encourage digital literacy skills, how to spot red flags, avoid unsafe conversations, and set boundaries online. I know I personally probably get at least one text a day from some anonymous user that's telling me I've either won money or I need to call them or, I see you have this land for sale. It doesn't really matter. It's coming from a scammer. So I think teaching your children and even like maybe your parents, if you have an older parent, how to watch out for that. My mother will sometimes say, oh, Amazon sent me a text. And I'm like, no, Mom, Amazon did not send you a text. So teaching our older adults how to learn those red flags. Parents and caregivers should regularly check in with their kids or their older adult about who they're talking to, who's reaching out, and just in general about how to tell the difference. So here's some more safety measures I think that we can take and put in place. This is really, I think, mostly for parents, but set boundaries on the screen time. You can use built-in tools like Apple Screen Time, Google Family Link, or Microsoft Family Safety to set those daily usage limits. Establish tech-free zones, like we talked about before, meaning like the bedroom, dinner table, having cutoff times where the family plugs their devices up together and say, time for the phones to go off. Parental controls and monitoring, I think, is appropriate. Like we're living in different times. So enabling parental controls on devices and routers and streaming services, I think that's really important. Use apps that allow parents to block inappropriate content and get activity reports. And again, I already stated this, but keeping devices in common areas, and that way we know that our young folks are not hiding their phone use. And then having open talks about online risk, explaining the dangers of chat rooms, anonymous forums, and social media DMs like catfishing, predators, and cyberbullying. We must teach our children also to never share their personal information, address, phone number, their school name, or any passwords, or any of that information about their parents. Reinforce the importance of coming to you if it feels off. Meaning, that didn't feel right, I need to tell my parent. You modeling healthy habits as a parent, I think, is one of the biggest things that you can do for your child. If they see you practicing device-free time, plugging your phone in elsewhere so that it's in a common space, and they see that you are not always actively engaged in your phone, especially during dinners or activities, they're going to practice the same thing or be more willing to. So I call that digital detox time, meaning let's be together doing board games, outdoor activities, family time away from our devices. And encouraging safe communities, direct kids towards age-appropriate platforms with safety checks, meaning like their games that they play on their phone are more educational and they're moderated and maybe not be violent. There are a lot of violent games out there, like we talked about last time, that can really direct inappropriate behavior and change brain. Also, teaching your kids how to spot misinformation and verifying sources. And I think like mainly checking in with your kids regularly. Hey, who have you been talking to online? The same way you would ask, who are your friends at school? Don't frame it as spying. Frame it as caring and protecting. Guys, this is so important. And I think that, we have to figure out new and different ways to make our kids trust us, because we just live in very different times right now. So wrapping up today, I just want to say that technology is not the enemy. It's how we're engaging with it. When screens become replacing real relationships, meaningful rest, and physical activity, we have a problem. And I would also lastly encourage cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, motivational interviewing. These therapies show promise with children who have developed an addiction. Talk therapy is always helpful. We need to really, really encourage our kids to have a healthy balance. Awareness, boundaries, and healthier coping tools can help us and our children regain control of their lives. So thanks, guys, for tuning in today. Thank you, as always, for listening to the ClearlyWell podcast. If you or someone you know is suffering from mental illness, suicidal ideation, substance use disorder, any of these things, you can call 988. They are there 24/7 for you. And if you or someone you know wants to be on the ClearlyWell podcast, you can email us at clearlywellpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you, as always. I want to state that please do not substitute this podcast for professional therapy or treatment. The content shared here is for informational and entertainment purposes only. We do ask our listeners to respect the diverse experiences of individuals and refrain from passing judgment. If you or someone you know needs professional help, please seek the guidance of a registered and qualified mental health professional. ClearlyWell is brought to you by Healthy Georgia and produced by CNC Media.